Welcome to This Explainer. We're jumping right in today to break down the brilliant, completely interconnected teamwork of the human body. We really do take our bodies for granted most days, but what is happening inside you, literally right at this very second, is nothing short of a biological marvel. We are going to explore the ultimate team roster, the 11 major human body systems. And by the end of our time together, you're going to see exactly how these systems act as one unified, incredibly well-oiled machine.
So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with building the human body. Then we'll run through the systems alphabetically to keep things fair. We'll group them, C through E, then I through N, and R through S. Finally, we'll bring it all together and see these systems in action.
All right, let's kick things off with part 1, building the human body.
We've all used that classic phrase, right? Oh, I know this like the back of my hand. But honestly, do you really know what's under there? When you look at your hand, sure, you see skin. But without a microscope, you can't see the individual skin cells, let alone the red blood cells, the muscle cells, or the bone cells operating right underneath. Your body is actually made up of trillions, yes, trillions with a T, of highly organized cells. And what's wild is that each one carries your entire DNA code, but they only use the specific parts they need for their own unique job. It's like having a huge instruction manual but only reading the chapter you need.
And that brings us to how life is structured. There is a very strict hierarchy here. Those trillions of specialized cells, they group together to build tissues. Then those tissues build organs. Think of a lung or your heart. And then those organs form entire organ systems, like your respiratory system. The absolute golden rule you need to remember here is that organ systems never ever work in isolation. They're always playing as part of a much larger team.
Okay, moving right along to part 2. Let's look at the body system starting with the letters C through E.
First up on the roster is the circulatory system. Now, you already know your heart is this incredible pumping machine. It's got 4 chambers, the right and left atriums, and the right and left ventricles, and it pushes blood all over the place to transport oxygen and nutrients. But how exactly does that blood travel? Well, here is a super easy memory trick. Just remember, A is for arteries, which carry blood away from the heart, which means veins carry blood back to the heart. Oh, and let's go ahead and bust a really common myth right now. Your blood is never ever blue. Nope, it is always red, even inside your body. I know biology diagrams use blue to show oxygen-poor blood, but honestly, that's just a visual aid, not reality.
Next up, we have the digestive system. This is a highly coordinated, step-by-step journey of breaking down your food to extract nutrients. And surprisingly, it actually starts right in your mouth. Awesome enzymes in your saliva literally kick off the breakdown process the second you take a bite. From there, it travels down to the stomach for a heavy-duty bath in acid and more enzymes. Step 3 is where the real magic happens, though. The small intestine uses these amazing microscopic finger-like structures called villi to absorb the vast majority of your nutrients. And finally, the large intestine steps in to do the vital job of reabsorbing water before the leftover waste, passes on through.
Coming in at number 3 is the endocrine system. Think about this for a second. How much taller are you now compared to when you were 6 years old? Well, you can thank growth hormone for that. Or what about that feeling when your heart suddenly races right before a big test you definitely forgot to study for? Yep, that's adrenaline. This entire system is made up of various glands that secrete hormones. You can think of these hormones as highly targeted chemical messengers. They travel through your body and bind to specific targets to make a distinct action occur.
Rounding out our E systems, we have the excretory system. A really great trick here is to associate the word excretory with the word exit. Makes sense, right? This system manages your body's osmotic balance and actively rids your body of metabolic waste. Now, quick clarification. Metabolic waste is totally distinct from the digestive waste we just talked about. Here, we're talking about things like the carbon dioxide you exhale from your lungs, the sweat leaving your skin, or nitrogenous waste like urea that's produced by your liver. A massive player in this exit strategy is the urinary system. It uses the bladder, ureters, urethra, and these incredible little functional units called nephrons, which live inside your kidneys, to constantly filter waste right out of your blood.
All right, let's keep this momentum going. Part 3, body systems I through N.
System number 5 brings us a big, fancy medical word, the integumentary system. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that your skin is actually your largest organ. Literally, the whole thing. It protects you from outside damage, regulates your temperature, and keeps you from losing water. And it is deeply layered. You've got the epidermis on the outside, the dermis in the middle, and the hypodermis underneath. The very outermost layer of that epidermis is actually made up of dead, cornified cells that are constantly shedding and being replaced by fresh ones from below. Oh, and keep in mind, this system isn't strictly just skin. It also covers your hair, your nails, and the sebaceous glands that secrete oil.
Now, have you ever gone to the doctor feeling a bit under the weather and they start pressing on your neck to check for swollen lymph nodes? Well, they're checking on your lymphatic and immune systems. These systems are incredibly hard at work. Basically, they collect and filter lymph, which is this clear fluid from your blood plasma that surrounds all your cells. To protect you from bad guys like viruses and bacteria, this system uses structures like the thymus, the spleen, your tonsils, and bone marrow. It deploys highly specialized white blood cells that create antibodies. These antibodies essentially tag the invaders, turning them into glowing targets that get actively gobbled up by cells called macrophages.
For number 7, let's talk about the muscular system. And hey, make no bones about it. Your skeleton literally cannot move itself. It is completely 100% reliant on muscle tissue to pull it into action. But here's the thing. The skeletal muscle that moves your bones is just one of 3 major types of muscle tissue in your body. You also have smooth muscle, which works behind the scenes in various internal areas, and cardiac muscle, which has the very specific, very important job of keeping your heart pumping all day and night. Next up is the nervous system. Put simply, your body would be a complete nervous wreck without something coordinating all of its actions, both voluntary and involuntary. It's basically split into 2 parts. The peripheral nervous system is this vast, sprawling network of nerves all throughout your body that senses the outside world and gathers sensory info. Then you have the central nervous system. That's your brain and your spinal cord, which takes all that incoming information, processes it, and then executes the proper motor responses. We also have to give a quick shout out to the specialized cells making this happen, your neurons and glia. They're absolutely essential for zipping these messages around at lightning speed.
We are in the home stretch now. Part 4, Body Systems R through S.
System number 9 is the reproductive system. As the name heavily implies, its major function is allowing for reproduction. You know, making babies. Both males and females have specific internal and external structures dedicated to this. The MVPs here are the gonads, which are the primary reproductive organs. Their job is to produce gametes. So specifically, the ovaries produce egg cells and the testes produce sperm cells.
Coming in at number 10 is the respiratory system. Got oxygen? Well, you definitely need it. Your cells require oxygen to create a specialized form of energy currency called ATP. Your respiratory system brings that vital oxygen in through the trachea and down into the lungs. But here's where the real magic happens. Deep, deep inside the lungs are these tiny sacs called alveoli. These incredibly thin-walled little sacs have a massive amount of surface area that sits in direct contact with your capillaries. This setup allows gas exchange to easily occur, meaning you can rapidly absorb the oxygen you need and instantly exhale the carbon dioxide you don't.
And finally, wrapping up the roster, System 11, the skeletal system. 206. That number represents the exact amount of bones a typical adult human has. Actually, fun fact, you are born with way more than that, but a bunch of them fuse together as you grow up. Your skeleton is divided into the axial skeleton, think your skull and spine, and the appendicular skeleton, which is your limbs. Together, they do so much more than just hold you upright. They physically protect your vital organs, like how your rib cage shields your heart and lungs. And amazingly, they even produce brand new blood cells straight from the bone marrow hidden inside of them.
All right, part 5. Let's look at all of these systems in action together.
Let's picture this. You're at the end of a long day, and you suddenly decide to race a friend down the hallway. Instantly, your respiratory system kicks into high gear, dramatically spiking your breathing rate to suck in more oxygen. At the exact same time, your circulatory system ramps up, pumping that fresh, extra oxygen-rich blood directly to your tissues. And all the while, your muscular system is dynamically pulling on your skeletal system. It's this beautiful, completely seamless interaction happening in milliseconds, physically propelling your body forward down the hall.
It is truly, absolutely magnificent how these biological marvels collaborate every single second of your life to let you do the things you do. Seriously, just think about it. With trillions of specialized cells and 11 distinct, interconnected systems working in totally perfect harmony within you right at this very moment. What else is your magnificent body capable of doing? Keep that curiosity alive, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.